Thank you, Chair. I'd like to briefly touch on the topic of the housing shortage again. I hear Mr. Klaver talking about the need to build more homes. I completely agree with that. But I would also like to go back to the question of where exactly this housing shortage comes from. Can Mr. Klaver answer that question?
Too few houses have been built. Period.
Too few houses have been built, period. And does it also have something to do with the fact that in the past 15 years, 1.5 million people have come to the Netherlands on a net basis, that the population has grown as a result, and that you therefore need more homes than you did 15 years ago?
You are asking me the question. How is it that Ms. De Vos is asking me the question? I am being asked the question. Why is there a housing shortage? And I say that's because too few houses have been built. If you want to suggest here that it's because migrants have come, that's the reason for the housing shortage, then I say that's not true. That is incorrect. If you want to point out, if Ms. De Vos points out, that when there are more people in your country or the population grows in any way, that this puts pressure on the housing demand, then that is correct. But my point is, and this is actually the debate I would like to have here with each other in all reasonableness. What is happening from that side of the chamber is that it is being suggested as if the housing shortage is caused by population growth. The point is, it is because too little has been built. That is the real reason. So I stand by that.
Yes, Chair, I need to think about this for a moment. Good idea. So Mr. Klaver says there is a housing shortage not because the population has increased, which is of course bizarre because yes, if demand increases and supply stays the same, then you get a housing shortage. I think even a child in 3rd grade could figure that out. So maybe Mr. Klaver could think about that for a moment. And of course, if you build too few houses and can't keep up with population growth, then you also get a housing shortage. We agree on that. But the problem is, and I would like to ask about that as well, that of course has to do with climate and nitrogen regulations, which make it very difficult to build more houses. New homes have to be disconnected from natural gas. Very few permits are being issued because we are stuck with the nitrogen restrictions. And those are both issues that Mr. Klaver's party is a strong supporter of. So yes, how does he envision that? How are we going to solve that?
To start with, that's not true on 2 counts. Look, first of all, even if we didn't, my issue is this. The suggestion is being made here that the housing shortage is caused by migration. Even if there had been no migration, we would still have had a housing shortage in this country. So it comes down to this. We should have built more, and that's a collective failure. Then, the issue of nitrogen. If there's one party here, by the way, that has always put forward proposals, we've even written our own private members' bill on this, to make sure the Netherlands gets out of the nitrogen impasse. That would be GreenLeft's Labour Party. Every time we put forward proposals on this. Forum for Democracy simply denies that there is a nitrogen problem at all. That's all well and good, but it doesn't get the permit process moving. It's fun to edit into a video, but it still doesn't get the permit process moving. Officially, BBB doesn't deny it, but they don't want to do anything to solve the problems. As a result, farmers and pass reporters get into trouble, and the permit process is at a standstill. We can only solve this if we reduce the livestock population. And I'm really looking forward to the new cabinet doing that.
Chairman, I can tell Mr. Klaver that even if you stop all economic activity in the Netherlands, you still won't meet the nitrogen standards. And that's because those nitrogen standards are completely detached from reality and in no way reflect the actual state of nature. So what you really need to do is move away from those nitrogen models. It's true, there is no nitrogen problem. We need to look at the actual state of nature, base permit issuance on that, just like France and Italy have been doing for a long time. So this is something you can simply solve. But I honestly find it appalling that Mr. Klaver refuses to look at reality. He does not acknowledge that the housing shortage is the result of mass immigration, the result of climate and nitrogen regulations. He claims to stand up for the common man. But the reality is that the common man cannot get a home because of these 3 major problems. And Mr. Klaver can keep telling fairy tales, but that won't solve the problem.
Actually, I already started my contribution, Chairman. A bit of a nostalgic contribution about the past, after all. But in Parliament, I sometimes long for the old days as well. Namely, that at least we agreed on the facts. And then, we all had a different interpretation of those facts. And we all had different solutions in mind. but it's very difficult to debate when there are just people. There is no nitrogen problem. There just isn't. Then there are two completely different realities. And I think that's also why the Netherlands just isn't moving forward. This is a new phenomenon here in Parliament. It's not that old yet, and I can't wait until we go back to at least agreeing on the facts here, and then having different political views about those facts, or seeing different solutions for the problems that exist. But I can't do anything with this.